Well, hey there, guys. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the channel here today on this delightful Friday for this installment of Open Mic, the show where the mic is open. The floor is yours. What are the topics and things that you guys want to discuss and talk about here today? That is what we are here to do. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege you guys would join me here on this afternoon. Good to see all you guys already here in the live chat. And we got a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to talk about. Hello to Robert and Alfonso and Mega Red and Harves and Adrian and Michael and Dalton and everybody else who's in the live chat. Hello to everybody and welcome back here. End of another week. Great weekend ahead. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. Just indulge me for a second. Come on. Give me just indulge me for a second. Big UFC card this weekend. Very excited about that. Great Sunday football lined up. Ann and I got a party we're going to this week. I got a good weekend lined up, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I got a really, really good weekend lined up that I'm very, very excited about. And yeah, what a week. It's been around here on the John Campea Show. We had, Robert to start the week. Chris was there. And then we were really lucky to have Sean Chandler fill in for a couple of days for us. I talked to Sean afterwards. I really like Sean and I liked having him on. And according to the feedback we seem to get from a lot of you guys, I think we're going to have Sean on, not on a regular basis, but I think you're going to see, in television terms, I think you're going to see Sean a bit as a recurring character. I think you're going to see Sean pop up now and again on the show as well. I really enjoyed having him, and I know you guys did too. So it's good to have all you guys here. I think next week on the John Campea Show might be wearing some costumes. Maybe. Might be wearing some costumes. We'll see. Anyway, look, before we get to your questions, and by the way, I guess I should let you know, there are two ways to send in topics or questions. One way is if you're watching this any of the 23 hours of the day that we aren't streaming live, anytime, 24 hours a day, you can send in a question or a comment or a topic to our tip link. That's at streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And we collect those up. Or if you happen to be here live right now, then you can use the super chat feature that's in the live chat. And as long as your question is appropriate to be used on the show, we will definitely get around to addressing that in just a few minutes. All right. Now, before we get rolling on the questions, had this I want to talk about today. Loki Season 2. Loki Season 2 so far. I don't know how you guys have felt about it so far. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put up a poll in the chat right now. Have you been enjoying Loki Season 2? It's simple yes or no. I got to tell you, you guys know I was not a big fan of Loki Season 1. Like, I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was trash or anything, but as like one of my favorite MCU characters, I'd say second or third favorite MCU character, I was a little bit let down by the first season of Loki. I thought it was unnecessarily convoluted. I thought the show lacked focus. I thought it got weird can be good, but sometimes just weird for the sake of being weird. And I didn't think they did a lot to really, give an emphasis to Loki himself. I felt, if anything, they kind of shrank Loki. They made him a little bit smaller, I felt. Anyway, that all being said, I've really been enjoying this one. I've been enjoying this season quite a bit. And I thought I would take a few minutes here to talk about why I think that this season of Loki has surpassed season 1 of Loki. Like, at least so far, right? Like, we are only 3 episodes in. For all we know, the next 3 episodes might be totally terrible and awful, and maybe this show goes downhill. Maybe. But as of right now, after 3 episodes, I think Loki Season 2 has surpassed Loki Season 1. And I thought I would give a few reasons as to why. By the way, I'm going over to check on the poll. Right now, I just simply asked the question, have you been enjoying Loki Season 2? Right now, 93% of you are saying yes. 7% of you are saying no. So that's where we're sitting right now. 91% of you say yes, you are. 97% of you are saying no, you're not. So for me, I very much am. I'm very much enjoying this season. And here are my main 3 reasons why I've been enjoying Loki Season 2 more, and why I think Loki Season 2 is surpassing Loki season 1. Reason number 1, and these are actually in no particular order, but I'm going to give it numbers anyway. Reason number 1, they're emphasizing Loki. Like, again, as one of my favorite characters, I'm a little bit predisposed to wanting to see the Loki character elevated. I have, and I felt a lot of season 1 de-elevated Loki in many ways. But in this season, they're kind of re-emphasized. There have been many points in the first 3 episodes that they remind us Loki is powerful and Loki is dangerous. And I love getting a little bit of that Thor 1 Loki back. Like that one scene, I think it was episode 2, when he's chasing the one member of the TVA and the guy's like, come on, this isn't fair. Make it a fair fight. And Loki goes, this isn't a fair fight. I mean, just that whole thing, there's a confidence back about Loki that was oddly missing a bit in Loki season 1 that I really, really quite enjoy. And again, just every time they have an opportunity to either devaluate or elevate Loki, it feels like this season they've been elevating Loki. And I've really been enjoying that. Okay. Reason number 2, I think Loki season 2 has surpassed Loki season 1, is that they have streamlined the narrative. One of the more common criticisms about Loki season 1, even from people who really quite liked it, is that it got very convoluted many times, that it sometimes felt like it lacked a direction, like it lacked focus, like there was a hell of a lot going on. And sometimes, quite frankly, to some people like me, it felt like there was a lot going on just for the sake of having a lot going on. This season, however, has felt very focused. It's felt very streamlined. It feels like they have a definitive narrative. Here's our story. Here's the problem our protagonists are facing. Here's why our antagonists are standing in their way. And here's ultimately what they're trying to achieve, right? And they have clearly set up a much more smooth narrative that has its twists and turns and has its different dimensions and has its different levels. But overall, I just feel like this story, particularly with, okay, time branches and the expanding nature of the time branches is causing pressure on the loom. The loom needs to be fixed. However, we can't get to the loom without He Who Remains, or at least a variant of him. Therefore, we need this, right? So there's a lot going on, but it all fits into that one storyline that I think is much more, I'm not going to say relatable, but it just communicates better. It flows better. And so for that reason, I also think that it's much better and has surpassed Loki season 1. The third reason I think that this season of Loki has surpassed the last season of Loki is I just find the details are better, right? The dialogue is just sharper. The dynamics between characters is a little bit more focused. The transitions from scene to scene feel less abrupt than they did in that. Like it's all the polished stuff. You know what I mean? That, you know, the narrative that we talked about in the last point certainly helps with that feel of this show just is flowing better. But it's also all the polish, the details that, you know, we don't normally talk about on a higher level. But the things like the simple conversations between characters, how they're transitioning from one scene into another scene, how they move from one sequence into another sequence, the way they move characters in and out of the scene, the dynamics between them all, the balance between dialogue and exposition, right? In Loki season 1, there was a lot of exposition that was made through dialogue that ultimately made the dialogue feel clunky. Here, there's a much better, clear distinction between when good dialogue is happening and when audience required exposition is being given. And I just feel like all those details, I feel like they've learned from season 1 and they've just polished it oiled it up a bit, made it even more efficient, and it's just working. So those are the three. Now, there's probably a dozen reasons why, but to me, the three main reasons why Loki season 2 has actually surpassed season 1 is, again, they are actually elevating Loki, which I think season 1 did not do. Number 2, the narrative is far more focused this year so far. And number 3, it's just the polish on the details, the small things, the cleaning up points. They just seems to be a much better put together show. So for me personally, that's why Loki season, and I'm not saying this to crap on Loki season 1. I'm just saying this is why I think Loki season 2 for me has surpassed season 1 already. Now, of course, lots of Marvel shows and lots of Disney Plus shows have a habit of starting strong and finishing weak. I thought Obi-Wan started strong. Overall, the show was pretty weak. I thought She-Hulk started strong. It ended up being pretty bad. I thought Secret Invasion started off pretty well, and it ended off pretty bad. Now, is that going to happen to Loki season 2? I don't know. All I know is right now, 3 episodes in, it's pretty damn good. Not as good as Gen V, but it's pretty damn good. And I am having a good time watching this show. And ooh, how good was that ending, right? I really like the ending of it. It's just drawing me in for the next episode. And that is something that actually Loki season 1 never did. Like, even on their better episodes, the endings of each episode never made me go, oh, I can't wait for next week. You know, this one, they seem to be doing that. So yeah. Anyway, all smiles and happiness from me. I'm pretty happy about it. All right. With that down, guys, let's do what we are here to actually do, which is to take your thoughts, your topics, your questions. So we're going to start things off here with where we go in here. Jonathan put this together for me. All right, there we go. Hu Yang, by the way, one of the few characters. Hu Yang, I loved him in Ahsoka. Balin, I loved in Ahsoka. You guys know I didn't love the Ahsoka, but a couple of characters work. Hu Yang was definitely one of them. Anyway, Hu Yang writes, according to Screen Rant, who saw Samba TV's numbers, Ahsoka's finale had 46% more viewers in the US than the Andor finale did. That's true. I don't think it was quite 46%, so I'm not quite sure where they're getting that number for, but the Ahsoka finale had more viewers, a considerable amount of more viewers than the Andor season finale did. That's true. Than the Andor finale, but it trailed the Mandalorian season 3 finale by 42%. Yes. And actually, you know what? Give me a moment, because I need to look something. Okay, so the biggest problem. Sorry, somebody sent me this, and I want to pull this up because I think it'd be. Let me just grab this, and okay, all right. So the bigger problem for Ahsoka was not that its finale finished 42% or however many percent behind the Mandalorian finale. I mean, Mandalorian is an established show. It was in its 3rd season. I don't think there's any shame for Ahsoka finishing 42% behind Mandalorian season 3's finale. I don't think there's any shame in that. Mandalorian season 3, even though Mandalorian season 3 took a big drop in viewers, it's still the 3rd season of a really enjoyed show that most people really liked. Season 3 wasn't so great, but still. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's not the problem for Ahsoka. The problem for Ahsoka wasn't the 42% it finished behind Mandalorian. The problem for Ahsoka was the 39% or 40% drop that the finale had from the series premiere. That's the problem. We talked about this the other day. Sean and I talked about this on the John Campea Show the other day. The problem was that the Ahsoka viewership started fairly strong and then did this. Fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer people watched it every week. People abandoned the show. They jumped ship. That by the time they got to the finale, it had 39 to 40% fewer people watching it at the finale than tuned in to watch it at the beginning. That's the problem Ahsoka had, was that it lost viewers. Now, the thing I was looking for here, let me see if I can bring this up now. Okay, so on the other side, though, talking about Andor. Andor had the complete opposite event happen. See, Andor started with not a ton of people watched. I mean, there was nobody recognizable in it except for one secondary character from Rogue One. You know, it wasn't, there was no lightsabers and whatever, but, you know, Andor started with a very modest opening number. But here's the difference between Andor and Ahsoka. Whereas Ahsoka started strong and then lost viewers and lost viewers and lost viewers and lost viewers until its finale, Andor gained viewers week after week after week after week until it had double the viewers by the finale that they started with. This, I believe this one came from Deadline, if I can bring this up. Andor, week 12, that's their finale, had 674 million minutes, a record for this series, more or less. So as you see, in episode 5, they had 356 million minutes viewed. Episode 6, that went up to 405 million views. By episode 7, that went up again to 418 million views. Episode 8 hit a bit of a drop at 385. But once you get into episode 10, again, goes up 420, episode 11, 455, and then you get into episode 12, 674. Basically, they more than doubled what they did. So whereas Ahsoka lost viewers as the show went on, Andor gained viewers. And that's why Andor has been nominated for the top Emmy in the world. Andor is nominated for Best Drama Series. That's why. It's so good that people kept coming back and they kept bringing more people and people gained on and gained on and gained on. It is, it's great. I mean, it's just fabulous. So, and that's what's going to be the problem. So I guarantee you, I 100% guarantee you, while it is indisputable fact that overall more people watched Ahsoka than Andor, you can't dispute that. That is 100% fact. More people watched Ahsoka than Andor. But I 100% guarantee you, if Ahsoka gets a season 2 and when Andor gets a season 2, I 100% guarantee you more people will watch Andor than watch Ahsoka, because Ahsoka kept losing viewers, Andor kept gaining viewers. It's the statistics, it's the math. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all kind of transpires. Anyway, thank you, Hugh Yang, for writing that in. All right, let's keep things going here. Next up, Duck writes, Buenas tardes. I think representation in movies opens the door for more unique stories. It absolutely does. There are people who are blatantly ignorant, but some people who just don't understand. What do you think is the best approach here to help them understand why these stories need to be told? For example, I never understood how transgender stuff works, but Jordan and Gen V is incredible and really made me think. Instructions Not Included and Elemental are two examples that represent my culture's situation very well. Like, here's the thing, like, there are, you kind of laid out one of the basic reasons why more representation in the shows and movies that we watch is good. It's just that it offers far more diversity. It offers more stories, more unique ways to tell stories from different perspectives than maybe ways that we've seen done a million times already. I mean, so that is definitely one. The main thing for me personally is I just like my movies and TV shows actually kind of being representative of the world I live in. Like, I must confess, I don't have a lot of transgender people in my circles, but there are a couple. So if you were to make a story, if you were to shoot a movie around my life and the world I live in, to be accurate, the story would have to reflect that they're there. Maybe not everybody has a lot of gay people in their life. I do. So it would be disingenuous, dishonest, and not realistic to try to make a movie around my world and not have gay representation in it. At the end of the day, when I'm having a conversation with people who don't want any kind of representation in movies, they don't want black people in it. They don't want gay people in it. They don't want anybody but straight white men. First of all, right there, you should just know there's really no point in having a conversation with them because there it is. There's no point. You're not going to use rationale and logic to change their minds. But what I often do is instead of saying to somebody, when I come across somebody who's like, I don't want to have a gay character pop up in my favorite show, and I don't want that. Instead of me taking on the onus about, I need to explain to you why you should be accepting of this, I don't do that because it's pointless. I've just learned over the years that it's pointless. What I do, however, is put the question back on them and say, tell me why it's bad that character number 5 happens to be a character that's gay. Tell me how this hurts the story that's being told, that this character happens to be gay, or that this character happens to be Asian, or that this character happens to be Pakistani, or this character happens to be black. Tell me why this is bad for the show. I don't ask them that so I can hear their answer. I ask them that so they can hear their own answer. Like, I need you to say it out loud so you can hear yourself saying it. You know? Because listen, there have been movies and shows that have featured some not so prominently, some prominently gay, black, minority characters that have been bad. The shows or movies have been bad. And what will inevitably happen when a movie or show that has a somewhat or not very much or somewhat predominantly minority character, they'll go, oh, see, you put in the gay and make it a bad movie, right? To which then I will go back to them and say, okay, yeah, you're right. That movie was kind of bad. But tell me this, if the gay character who was in that movie, if everything else stayed the same, but the gay character was straight, but the story was the same, the dialogue was the same, the visual effects were the same, all that was exactly the same. If that gay character was straight, is the movie any better? No. So the movie being bad had nothing to do with the fact that partner number 4 was gay or Pakistani or black or some minority, right? And that's the always thing. Like, if there's a movie with all straight white people and it's bad, they never say, well, it's bad because of the straight white people. No, you say it's bad because, well, the script wasn't written very well or they didn't develop the narrative well. But with these people that you talk to, if there's a bad movie that happens to have a gay character somewhere featured in it, it's like, oh, that's bad because of the gay. Yeah, wait, what? So if that hairy character, I don't mean he's Harry. I just made up the name Harry. If that character named Harry in the movie happened to be a straight character, you think that just magically turns that movie into a good movie? The bad plot holes, the terrible dialogue, the jokes that didn't work, all of a sudden the movie's good because the character named Harry was straight instead of gay. Anyway. So yeah, to me, Duck Duck, it's not a matter of how I convince them that it's important. I actually put the question back and say, tell me why it's important to you that they not be there. I'm not going to try to explain to you why it's important that they are there. I need you to explain to me why it's important that they shouldn't be there. You tell me, and then listen to yourself as you explain it. But that's just me. You know, Mega Chris is saying something that's key, I think, in the chat, which is the character's sexuality should never be important to the story. Yes and no. Sometimes, I mean, look at movies like Superbad, or look at movies like Joyride. There are comedies where sexuality is at the source of the story. But yes, most of the time it's not. But anyway, Mega Chris says the character's sexuality should never be important to the story anyways, unless that's what the story is about. See, and that's true. But here's the thing. Acknowledging that, say, a particular character is gay is not making the story about them being gay. Like, I remember I had somebody say that to me once. Well, why does that person have to be gay? Sexuality shouldn't be part of it. Okay, but they made it very clear that those 9 other characters are heterosexual. They didn't show them humping partners on the couches or anything, but they made it very clear that those 9 characters, they made it clear that they're heterosexual. And that's fine. That wasn't making their sexuality important, nor is it important if they just happen to point out that, hey, this character happens to be homosexual. This character's gay. So, but for some people, like, just the very fact that they're there, it's like, that's making it a big deal. No, you're making it a big deal. The movie didn't. Anyway, that's just kind of my sort of take on that. Anyway, let's keep going here. Next up, we've got Tiberius, who writes, "Hey, John and gang. John, a while ago you described how you got sucked into watching the first few episodes of The West Wing. No, you might be thinking of another show. Has that continued? If so, did you continue to enjoy it? It happens to be my number 1 show of all time. No, you might be thinking of another show. I was late to West Wing, but it was years ago, like certainly prior to me launching the John Campea Show YouTube channel, and maybe even prior to Collider, but it was years ago. I think I was sick for a little while and I was home, so I started watching West Wing, a show that I heard so many people watch, and this is many years ago. So I started watching the West Wing, and I watched I didn't watch the first couple of episodes. I watched like the entire series in about under 2 weeks. Like, I watched the entire series. And ever since then, I basically do an annual rewatch of the entire series. I think it is one of the best shows ever made. But I'm not kidding here. If I would actively promote and lobby for the idea that every American should watch The West Wing, not because of its political leanings, but in understanding how government works, the complications of it, the ideals, like all that sort of stuff. And one of the things I appreciate about The West Wing was that, yes, its primary character was a Democrat, but quite often they would show that while these Democrat characters, they hated the Republicans, but even though they did, they were forced to see how their Republican counterparts were actually actively trying to make the country better. There's a great storyline in West Wing where Martin Sheen, he played the president. He didn't have a vice president at the moment, right? Now, the next in line, as everybody else is learning right now because Congress can't get its act together, there's no Speaker of the House right now. But in U.S. government, there's the president, and then if for some reason the president has to step out of office, the vice president becomes president. But if the vice president can't, the next person to take over the presidency is the Speaker of the House. So in this one storyline in West Wing, the president's daughter gets kidnapped, and the president decides that he can't be trusted to be president because someone's got leverage on him. Somebody's holding his daughter, all that kind of stuff. So he steps down. He temporarily steps out of the presidency. Well, they had no vice president. So that meant that the Speaker of the House, being played in the West Wing by John Goodman, who is awesome in this show. John Goodman's always awesome, but I mean, he was awesome in the show, but he's a Republican. So it meant that the president made the decision to hand over the power of the presidency to a Republican to step in and temporarily play the role of president. And he was great, And one of the things that I liked about that show, West Wing, is that while it was definitely an adversarial system, and while they definitely did focus on the Democrat side of it, they almost always, well, they often didn't show Democrats in very positive light either, but they would often show Republicans in a very positive light as being team players. We're all working together. Like, we have different ideologies, but we all together want what's best for the country, and blah, blah. And I really appreciated that about West Wing. So I really highly encourage anybody to watch West Wing. It's absolutely incredible. Yes. Okay. With that down, next up, And that's why I do like a rewatch of it every year. Okay, Amin writes, one of two. I saw Gran Turismo last night and was pleasantly surprised. Actually, a really good film. Yeah, you know what? It actually is pretty good. I didn't realize how true the real life story was. It definitely had some cringy dialogue, and Orlando Bloom's character was a bit over the top and annoying, but David Harbour was the best part, I think. The main kid was also pretty good. Saw it in my home theater, and man, the sound design and cinematography were amazing, especially with the game UI overlay elements. Also, how was this directed by Neil Blomkamp? LOL. Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what. I am guilty of... I gave Gran Turismo very, very little attention. I gave it very little chance of being any good. I admit it, I did. They showed us a preview for it at CinemaCon, and I thought, this looks like an immediately throwawayable movie. And of course, Neil Blomkamp, who burst onto the scene with District 9, which everybody loves District 9. Unfortunately, he followed it up with two really crappy movies in Elysium and damn it, it's the name of the what's the name of the other one? The name of the robot? Guys in the live chat, help me out here. What was the name of it again? So it was Elysium and Bobo the robot. No, Chappie. Thank you. Mega Chris was the first one to throw that in there. Chappie. Unfortunately, Chappie and Elysium were really bad. And so Neil Blomkamp returns with Gran Turismo, and I went to go watch it. And again, I gave it no chance of actually being any good. I'm not going to say the movie's great, but I enjoyed myself. I thought it was it's a movie that is much better than it has any business being. And I thought it was crisply directed by Blomkamp. The visual effects are surprisingly good for a movie of its budget, but with Neil, I mean, hey, listen, visual effects is one thing Neil Blomkamp knows, right? So yeah, I was very happy and very pleasantly surprised by Gran Turismo. I really, really was. All right, guys, listen, we still got a lot more questions to get to, but before we do, we're going to take a quick minute here, pay some bills, and thank the sponsors of our shows here today. We're going to start off with our friends at Fume and Rocket Money. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Fume. Quitting cold turkey is great in theory, but you and I both know it's way more difficult than that. And that's why there's a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some fake online promises. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume. And they look at the problem in a different way. Instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavor air device that does just that. See, instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. I personally didn't know what to expect when I first got my Fume. I mean, I've never liked vapes, but my goodness, the taste. The first time I tried it, I was completely sold on it. It was incredible. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard, but switching to Fume is easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 150,000 customers and has thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use the code CAMPEA to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use the code CAMPEA to save an additional 10% off your order today. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money. Did you know that the average person has around 12 paid subscriptions and they might not even remember to subscribing to half of those? If you have no idea just how much you're spending each month, you need Rocket Money. It's this great app that tracks all of your expenses so you know exactly where your money is going. I recently just found out that over 80% of people have subscriptions that they've completely forgotten about. Seriously, think about how many free trials you subscribe to that you just probably never canceled. And that's why I'm such a big fan of Rocket Money, because I was one of those people. When I signed up to Rocket Money, I was stunned to find out that a gym I had belonged to in another city I lived in, I had still been paying my dues to for over 2 years. Also, that music subscription service I use, yeah, I forgot I was subscribed to 2 other ones. That's where Rocket Money comes in, because Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. With over 3 million users and counting, Rocket Money customers have saved on average of $720 a year. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Campea. That's rocketmoney.com/Campea. rocketmoney.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Fume and Rocket Money for sponsoring this episode. All right, guys, With that down, let's get back to it here, shall we? We're going to pick things up here with, we just did a meme. Now we got Garden Variety Vagabond who writes, kudos to Clooney, Streep, Reynolds, and Group for offering up $50 million annually in union fees to help support other actors and bridge the gap between SAG-AFTRA and the studios. The union unfortunately said it would be illegal and not solve issues. Yes, so it's a little bit complicated, but to the best of my understanding of it, and please look into this yourselves, I may not be understanding this right. For those who didn't see it, there are a number of actors who are getting kind of fed up with the strike, and they wanted some answers as to why we have not ended the strike yet, and what can we do to help promote the strike getting resolved. And a group of predominant actors led by George Clooney went to the leadership of SAG and made a couple of proposals. And if I understand it right, again, take this with a grain of salt, I may not be understanding it completely right, but if I understand it right, basically, there is a guideline in the union that says there is a maximum amount in union dues that we can pull, which is $1 million. That's the most we can have for union dues is $1 million a year. George Clooney's group proposed that they increased the amount that they can take in from $1 million to $150 million, but that most of that money would come from the top earners. Like, remember, the vast majority of the union members are not people you've ever heard of. They're people who are, they're just working actors. They appear here and there. They don't really make much money. So George Clooney is saying we won't necessarily take this extra $150 million in union fees from the small act. They'll come from the big people who are making tons of money. We'll put that up, and then we can use that money to offset what we're not getting from the studios for residuals. And then Clooney also proposed this that I think maybe a lot of famous actors won't like, but George Clooney, who's a man's man, George Clooney proposed, him and his group proposed, I should say, that in any residual situation that they set up, the first of the residuals should go to the bottom line actors, and then what's ever left over in residuals should go to the top line actors, because the top line actors are making $500,000, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million a movie. So they're like, hey, if anybody's gonna get residuals, it should be like the little guys. The little guys should get the residuals, right? For whatever reason, that wasn't. Now, look, you know me, I don't believe in residuals. I don't think actors should get residuals. I think there are other people who work on movies much harder and much longer and are every bit as talented and are every bit as important to a movie getting made than the actors, and none of them get residuals. I'm not quite sure why we as a society hold up actors on some kind of giant pedestal to say they are more important than other people. They should get residuals. Nah, sorry, maybe I'm old-fashioned. Where I come from, get an honest day's wage for an honest day's work. You don't just keep getting paid afterwards as well. That's an unpopular opinion. I have many friends who are in SAG that do not like that I have that opinion, but it is my opinion nonetheless. Now, I do believe that actors, especially the lower level actors, need to get, number one, paid more upfront. They need to, two, get better health coverage. Number three, get better benefits. I think there's a lot of things that the studio should be giving actors. I just don't personally believe in residuals. That's just me. But there it is. All right. Next, and by the way, I'm very much in the minority on that. I understand I'm in the minority, but sometimes being right is lonely. All right, next up, we've got Anonymous writes, I just found a YouTube channel that is all AI covers of anime characters singing pop songs. That sounds like copyright violation. Anyway, it's marked as AI. I enjoy it because it's AI, and I'm a writer. I feel like I shouldn't be enjoying it myself and that I can't share it with people. What should I do? I mean, listen, if YouTube has it up, if you want to share it, share it. I don't really see what the problem is. Now, I mean, I don't know how YouTube is not pulling this channel down. If they're using copywritten music, they should really have their channel pulled down, I guess, or demonetized or whatever. But whatever. Hey, listen, if it's YouTube's business, if they want to have it up and it's there and you want to share it, share it. I don't really see the problem with it personally. All right. Let's keep going now. We're going to go over to those of you guys who are watching live and have been sending in super chats. We're going to start off with Gen V from Monkey Pants. Gen V has been renewed for a second season. Yes, we talked about that at length, actually, this morning on the John Campea Show podcast. Super excited about it. I said earlier today on the show, and I truly believe it. in a world that we have DC programming on television, and by the way, Peacemaker's so good. And in a world where we have MCU shows being made for Disney Plus, the king of making superhero content on TV is Amazon. I'm sorry, but the boys in Gen V bend over those other guys and spank them. Spank them. They have an infinitely superior product than Marvel or DC do on TV. And I say that loving a couple of things Marvel and DC has on. Peacemaker, phenomenal. WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, phenomenal. But like, just they've put out 3 seasons of The Boys. All of them are A+. Now they're more than halfway through season 1 of Gen V. It's absolute A+. Yeah, it's just, man. Who would have thought in a world of Marvel and DC, it's this other company that's kind of dominating the superhero landscape on TV. Just superior product, way superior product. All right. Next up, Brandon writes, I'm loving Gen V so much, more Gen V love. And I thought the trailers looked terrible. I did not love the trailers either. I'm going to 100% guarantee I did not love the trailers either. I am kind of disappointed at how short the latest episodes have been. How long have the episodes been? Let me just check this out. Gen V episode length, because they felt pretty long to me. Let's see here. I'm not seeing it. It's saying the shortest one has been 41 minutes. The longest one has been 59 minutes. Gen V runtimes. Let me see if I can get this here. Okay, so episode 1 was 55 minutes. Episode 2 was 45 minutes. Episode 3 was 48 minutes. Episode 4 was 47 minutes. Episode 5 was 41 minutes. And episode 6 was just 37. I didn't realize that. It felt long. And I mean that in a good way. I didn't realize that one was that short. I mean, I feel like but here's the thing. I prefer it coming in around the 48, 45, 55 minute range like the other episodes do. But I will say this about the 37-minute episode, which was the latest one we just watched. It didn't feel rushed. They went through the story exactly the way they wanted to do it. We saw the background of the main characters making their mistakes. We had that great Soldier Boy mental projection cameo. They're giving exposition to guide the characters. They did, and then they brought the episode to conclusion, and they did it all. So I guess that's why I didn't feel the 37-minute. But yes, 37 minutes, if the show was regularly clocking at that, I would have an issue. But considering that is easily the shortest episode they've had, and they've been averaging around 48 minutes long, I'm okay with it. Again, as long as the episode didn't feel rushed and I don't feel like they've cut corners, like the thing with a lot of the Disney Plus shows that come in at like the show's average 38 minutes, 35 minutes, 41 minutes, stuff like that. The problem isn't necessarily just the number of minutes. It's that you can feel it when you're watching the show. Like you can feel that this is cutting corners. You can feel like this is cut short. Whereas that last episode of Gen V at 37 minutes, which is easily the shortest one they've had so far, I didn't feel that. But it'll be interesting to see how long the next couple of episodes are going to be. We'll see how long the next few episodes are. We'll keep an eye on that. All right, thanks for that, Brandon. Next up, Harv's K writes, should we call her Ms. Minutes Maid after Loki episode 3 because she be thirsty? Oh yeah. Who knew that Ms. Minutes could be horny? But Ms. Minutes be horny. Very horny, apparently. Yeah, if you didn't watch Loki last night, you don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, Ms. Minutes, she wants to get her freak on. Damn right she does. All right, next up, we got Robert Presser who writes, happy Friday and have a great weekend. Thank you, Robert. I plan on having a great weekend and I hope you do too. Thanks for that, man. Next up, we've got Mega Red 555 who sends in a $20 super chat. Mega Red, thank you so much for supporting our channel on that level, man. We deeply appreciate that. Anyway, Let's see. Mega Red writes, John, I met a wonderful woman on a dating app. We've hung out 3 times in less than a week. She's even spent the night. Another woman asked me out tonight. Would it be bad for me to go on this date? Woman 1 and I are not exclusive yet. Well, not the typical type of question we would get around here, but it all depends. It all depends. I mean, the flat, straightforward answer is it's perfectly fine. I mean, if you and this other girl have not defined any kind of parameters that you guys are any kind of an exclusive relationship, yeah, it's fine. But it depends how much you like this girl. Girl number 1. It depends how much you like her. If you quite like her and you're taken with her and you think, you know what, this could be something pretty cool, then what I would recommend is skip out, cancel date number 2 with the other girl, because you're running the risk that even if you can sleep at night knowing that, hey, me and this girl number 1, we never said we were exclusive, that's fine. But you are going to have to understand you're running the risk that she might not be thinking that way, and she could be hurt or offended that, hey, we just clicked really well. We spent the night together and the very next day you're out with somebody else. I mean, hey, you're in the clear. Morally, you're in the clear as far as I'm concerned because you didn't say you're exclusive, but you are running the risk that it could end that thing with girl 1. So it depends. It really all depends. Listen, any of you guys who've watched me for a long period of time, you've heard the double booked story where I, like a 1990s sitcom, double booked 2 different dates for the same night, and they both showed up. So yeah, that took a look. I don't know. Have any of you guys been around long enough? That happened in the movie blog days, but any of you guys been around long enough to hear that have heard that story? Oh yeah. John created a bad situation for himself. Yeah. So yeah, the double booking. You double book. I double booked. That was yeah. I wasn't able to salvage that. Just letting y'all know I was not able to salvage that. Okay, let's move on. Caesar saying it was Anne 1. No. I was still in Canada. This is long before I ever met Anne. I was still in Canada. It was during movie blog days. It was long before Anne. All right. Next up, Kyle Schneider writes, Killers of the Flower Moon was great, but a half hour too long. Spider-Man 2 is a blast. Can't wait for Five Nights at Freddy's next week. You know, it's funny because Martin Scorsese's last movie, at least I think it was his last movie. Was Irishman his last movie, or did Martin Scorsese have another movie come out between now and Irishman? Or was Irishman the last movie he had come out? Guys in the live chat, help me out. I'll look for there. Yes, it was the last movie he had come out. Okay. Irishman was the same thing to me. Irishman was a very good movie. Like, I liked it, but it was easily like a full half hour too long. There were so many scenes that either could have been cut out of the movie because they didn't ultimately further the story, or there were many scenes in the movie that, like, if there's a function in the movie, try to follow me here. There's a function in the movie where the audience needs to understand that this guy feels this way. Okay, so you do a scene that shows that this guy feels this way. But then like 15 or 20 minutes later, they do another scene that just does the same thing, showing us that this guy feels this way. I'm like, okay, yeah, but we already had a scene that communicated that to us as the audience. This scene, while it's a good scene, it doesn't need to be here in the movie. And I felt like Irishman was not just, sometimes I'll see movies and I'll go, it could have been about 10 minutes shorter, maybe about 15 minutes shorter, just to tighten it up, whatever. Like Irishman, I fully 100% felt that like a full half hour should have been excised from that movie. It made it flow a lot better. So I'm not really surprised to hear you say that that Killers of the Flower Moon probably could have been a half hour shorter. Anyway, next up, we got Disgraceful Entertainment Rights. I got my money on Islam. Care to make a friendly wager? I don't know what kind of wager you can make, but I got Volk. Listen, I think if you watch the first fight, this is the big UFC fight this week. He's fighting Alexander the Great Volkanovski. I think if you watch that last fight, Volk started to figure him out. And you could see, everybody saw the tide of that fight turn. And by the end of that fight, Islam was holding on for dear life. And I think most people acknowledge if that fight went 5 more minutes, if there was a round 6, you would have been hearing Bruce Buffer go, and new at the end of that fight. And I think Volk's got his number now. And I love Islam. I love him. He is awesome. He's out of the Khabib Nurmagomedov camp, who is, I think, maybe my second all-time favorite fighter behind George Pierre, GSP. But I honestly think Alexander's got him. But we'll see. It's going to be a great fight. Can't wait to see it. All right. John Redcorn writes, do you think Belichick's job is in trouble right now? No, I don't. Bill Belichick has brought, 6 Super Bowls to New England? Bill Belichick won the division how many years in a row? Even last year, they were in the playoff hunt. Look, and remember, when they lost Brady, they didn't just lose Brady. Like in the span of 18 months, they lost Julian Edelman, Gronk, Brady, and about 7 other key piece players, right? It took 20 years, but the New England Patriots are finally in something of a rebuilding stage, right? No other team in NFL history has ever had the success that the New England Patriots done, all under Bill Belichick. You think one miserable year is going to put his job in jeopardy? No way. The owner of the Patriots loves Bill Belichick. And as long as Bill Belichick wants to stay, now he may decide he wants to retire. I mean, I think he might be the oldest coach in the NFL now. He's the second oldest coach in the NFL now. So he may want to retire, but as long as he wants to be coach there, he will be the coach there. And listen, they're going to have a bad rest of the season, and they're going to have a struggle next year too. It usually takes a little while to turn these teams around, but no coach in NFL history has had his kind of success. I mean, it's kind of crazy. All right. Abraham Villegas writes, I'm surprised how well the pre-sale for the Five Nights movie is doing. My local theaters aren't sold out, but they are selling pretty well. Listen, I'll tell you, I firmly believe this movie is going to be terrible. I hope I'm wrong. I've been very excited about this movie, but then when you find out the movie is being released day and date on Peacock, and each time they've done that, the movies have ended up being terrible. And when you found out that they're not lifting the review embargo until the actual day the movie comes out, that's a giant red flag. I am firmly convinced that the movie's going to be terrible. I'm still excited to watch it, but I'm convinced it's going to be terrible. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, man, listen, we talked about on the John Campea Show this morning. They are projecting anywhere from like $55 to $80 million opening. $55 to $80 million opening. That's in the neighborhood of the Marvels, which is projected right now to open between 75 and 80 million. Like that's a huge win. That is a huge win. So, but whether it actually hits those numbers, falls short, exceeds them, well, we'll find out soon. All right. Next up, Vixter 5001 writes, what's your most anticipated film for the rest of 2023? I don't know. I never keep in my head. I don't have movie dates in my head. I can't remember which ones are coming out this year, to be honest with you. I can't remember what's coming out this year and what's coming out in early 2024. I would probably say right now, off the top of my head, I think I would say now that Dune is no longer coming out in 2023, I think it has to be Napoleon. Napoleon looks so sick. I mean, it looks so good. And you guys haven't even seen everything that they showed us at CinemaCon yet. Because the presentation they gave us at CinemaCon all the way back in April was crazy. This movie looks good. But I also got to say this as well, because I think somebody shouted it out. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, Michael Gonzalez in the live chat shouted this out. I got to tell you what, I never would have thought this before. I think Wonka is going to surprise a lot of people. I think Wonka is going to surprise a lot of people. And I say that for 3 reasons. One, Hugh Grant looks absolutely fucking insanely funny in this movie as an Oompa Loompa. Everything that they showed us at CinemaCon and everything I've seen in trailers with him in it so far have slayed me. Number 2, I think Timothée Chalamet is the next coming of, maybe the next coming is a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Hold a second. What's the phrase I'm looking for? No, I can't find it. It's killing me. What's the phrase? John, who cares what the phrase is? Okay, I'll stick right now with Second Coming. Okay, I'll stick with Second Coming. Timothée Chalamet is the next coming of Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm not saying he's as good as Daniel Day-Lewis right now. No, he's not. But I don't see any other actor in the world, as young as he is, who has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis in the world. I think he's it. And he's already really damn good. I mean, he's already Oscar caliber already. And he's only getting better every time. But the main reason that I think Wonka is going to surprise a lot of people, and I get it, like I was like a lot of other people when they first mentioned they're doing a Wonka movie, like, oh, come on, really? What's the point in doing another prequel, an origin story for Willy Wonka? Really? Like, hey, listen, I was there too, but listen to me. Paul King is directing this movie. Yeah, that Paul King. Paul King, who directed Paddington and Paddington 2. And before you giggle, if Paddington 3 ends up being anywhere near as good as Paddington 1 and 2, it gets into that conversation of the greatest trilogies of all time. I'm not even joking. I'm not joking. That's how good Paddington and Paddington 2 are. They are fabulous, magical, delightful, heartwarming, spirit-lifting, wildly entertaining movies. They're just fantastic. And with him directing Wonka, it gives me all the belief in the world in it. Might it be bad? Absolutely, might be. But I would still have to say that number 1 for me would probably have to be Napoleon. I think off the top of my head, that's the one that I think is the one I'm most excited for. All right. Anthony C. writes, hello, John. I got to enjoy an in-concert performance of Into the Spider-Verse. Oh, nice. Ann and I almost got tickets to that. They did that in Los Angeles recently. Into the Spider-Verse. It was spectacular, really immersive. Recommend you see it if you can. Ann and I will quite often, because they do it around Los Angeles a lot, we love going to these in-concert movies. So, where they'll like, the last one I think we went to was Empire Strikes Back, where they play the movie on the big screen, but the movie sound has the soundtrack stripped out and an orchestra plays the music live with the movie. We've gone to that for like 3 different Star Wars movies. We went to one of where they did that for Black Panther. We've gone to a lot of them. And I always love those experiences. And we had a scheduling conflict with when the Into the Spider-Verse one was in Los Angeles, so we couldn't go, but we wanted to go. We would have gone if it wasn't for a scheduling conflict. All right. Tim Platt writes, have to say, Jonathan Majors has really impressed me. His performance really makes it easy to buy into the variant aspect. Listen, I think Jonathan Majors has been great. Has been so far. He's only been in the 1 episode, but I loved the way he's played this character. What's his name again? Is it Timely? Is that the character's name? Timely? A little on the nose, but I think that's it. Victor Timely. That's right. Thank you, Michael Gonzalez. Michael Timely was name. I thought he was great as it. Look, I said this on the John Campea Show earlier today. Make no mistake, Jonathan Majors is a world-class actor. Now, whether or not he's going to be in jail soon, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in the courtroom. His case is proceeding. Let's see what happens. But whatever that is, he is a world-class actor. He's fantastic. And I like his portrayal so far in what we've got of him in Loki. All right, Hosea XCI writes, how much do you bench and squat, and do you train heavy? I actually don't train heavy. I've always been, well, no, not always. I used to train heavy when I was younger, but about 10 years ago, I remember hearing GSP talk about, because I'm a huge GSP fan, George St. Pierre, former welterweight champion and former middleweight champion of the UFC. I remember he talked about his weight training, and his physique's incredible, and he goes lighter, not light. And so I don't train super heavy. So like, for example, it's funny you mentioned it. So today was chest and shoulder day at the UFC training gym. And I honestly don't know how much I could bench. I don't know. What I train with is I do what most people do in the gym. I go over to when I do bench pressing, I go over to the bench and I throw a 45 pound, I think the bar is 45 by itself, I think. Anyway, so you get the 45 pound bar. I think that's the weight of the bar. And then I take a 45 pound plate, put it on one end, take a 45 pound plate, put it at the other end. And that's what I do my sets with. So how much is that? 135. So I do my sets with 135, 125, maybe. That's what I do my sets with. I honestly don't know. It's been at least 20 years since I've seen how much I can put on the bars and actually bench. I don't know how much I could do. Maybe a lot more, maybe not much more. Don't know. All right. Let's see, next up, Lou Barron writes, Brie Larson will win an Emmy for lessons in chemistry. Maybe. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Look, I like Brie Larson very much. I didn't love the trailer for In Chemistry. I feel like I've seen it before. But I'm definitely going to give it a shot. I mean, she is an Academy Award winning actress. We'll see. But I mean, does anybody know when that show comes out? When does In Chemistry? Because I do believe it's a show. I could be wrong about that, but I think it's a show. If anybody could let me know when that movie actually comes out, I would be, or when that show, or did it come out already? Is somebody saying it's so good? Does that mean it's out already? Oh, it's on its fourth episode today? Oh, I had no idea they even started the show. Like, no idea they even started the show. Just so you guys know, I just turned off the super chats because we're already over an hour and I don't think we're close to being done yet. So I just had to turn off the super chats. Anyway, I will have to check it out. Thank you for giving me that update. I'm glad to hear that she's that good in it. Okay. Next up, we have Tim Platt writes, also, as if it wasn't already clear, Tara Strong is an absolute legend. Ms. Minutes is both creepy and captivating. Yeah, she does a really good job voicing. Now, remember, she does not write the dialogue, but she does a really good job playing it, and you could feel the thirst in her voice in that episode for sure. No Scope Pro Dope writes, who do you have this weekend in the main event UFC? I've got Alexander the Great. I think Volkanovski wins. And in a very compelling co-main event, I think Chim beats Usman. I do. Listen, ever since when we saw Usman get his rematch, he looked like a different guy. I think getting knocked out when he lost the title, I think that broke him. I think that I've seen that happen in some great UFC champions before. So yeah, but I think Alexander Volkanovski wins the fight. It's going to be great either way. I love both of them. I think they're both awesome, but I think Alexander wins. We'll find out though. All right. John Redcorn writes, do you think Will Smith can successfully come back from the slap, or has his image just changed forever? Jada's interviews surely aren't helping. Here's the thing. Now, asking whether he can come back and will he come back are two different things, right? Will he? I don't know. Can he come back? Let me put it this way. A lot of people today forget, but there was a point in time when Tom Cruise's image and reputation was pretty bad, actually. Whether it was fairly or unfairly, all the Scientology stuff. A lot of people forget the clown he made of himself when he was on Oprah and jumping up and down on the couch and all this kind of stuff. And it just, his reputation started to hurt. I think the general movie-going public started looking at him differently. Maybe people were starting to get over Tom Cruise. And then he did that movie with Steven Spielberg, something about the alien. What's it called again? Planet War, World. What was the name of that one again? Where the alien invasion on Earth? Battle of the Planet? No, what's it called? Battle of the Planet is the cartoon show I used to watch. War of the Worlds. Thank you very much. Why was I freezing on War of the Worlds? Battle of the Planets was G-Force. That was a cartoon I used to watch as a kid, which was awesome, by the way. Mark, Jason, Tiny, Princess, and Keop. I still remember their names. Anyway, most of you have no idea what I'm talking about. They did War of the Worlds, and it didn't quite do what they were hoping it would do box office-wise. Not that it was a flop, but it didn't quite do what it was going to do box office-wise. And really, a lot of people were writing off Tom Cruise. A lot of people were writing him off. Again, whether that was fair or unfair, and whether it was unfair that people were really getting on him, they were getting creeped out by the Scientology stuff, whether that's fair or not, that's what it was. People were getting kind of turned off by him. And then he did Tropic Thunder. He did Tropic Thunder. And he played this character, this Les Grossman character, this wild, crazy, completely out of character for Tom Cruise character. That is actually one of my favorite movie characters ever. And I'm still dying for them to do a Les Grossman movie. He did this character where he put on a fat suit. No one ever dreamed Tom Cruise would do any of this. And he did it. And guess what? All of a sudden, like that, Tom Cruise was back. It's not hyperbole to say Les Grossman, Tropic Thunder, playing that role saved Tom Cruise's career. I mean, he was already rich enough to live 10 lifetimes. It didn't matter, but that movie saved his career. I say all that because if he could come back, Will Smith can come back. Again, I'm not saying he will. I'm saying he can. But it will take something like that. It's going to take an event. It's going to take a pivotal moment for Will Smith to come back. It's not going to be a slowly over time. People will forget. No, I mean, I think it's going to take like what it did for Tom Cruise. I think it's going to take an event. Something's got to happen. But if it happened for Tom Cruise, I think it can happen for Will Smith. All right. Guys, with that down, we're going to take one more break before we get to the remainder of our questions. And we're going to thank a couple more sponsors of today's episode. My mobile service provider, and they should be yours, Mint Mobile, and the makers of the people who are giving me my best oral care, my favorite teeth brushing experience ever. I know it sounds weird to say that, but it's true, at Quip. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. Signing your life away to a big wireless provider is kind of like being trapped on a roller coaster from hell. Sure, it looks like fun at first. They probably even threw in a free phone, but now you can't get off. Month after month of insane bills and unexpected thrills, like overages and surprise fees. If that sounds like your current big wireless plan, it's time to get off the ride with Mint Mobile. For a limited time, wireless plans from Mint Mobile are just $15 a month. That's unlimited talk, text, and data for just $15 a month. You guys know before I came to Mint Mobile, I was paying triple what I am paying now on the standard big wireless plan, and I will never go back. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped right to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Quip. Guys, good health starts with good habits, and Quip makes taking care of your oral health easy by delivering all the oral care essentials that you need to care for your mouth. They've got an incredible electric toothbrush with timed sonic vibrations with 30-second pulses to guide a dentist-recommended 2-minute clean. Guys, it's my favorite toothbrush I've ever owned. And who likes flossing? I don't, but this water flosser hits all the right spots with gentle or deep cleaning pressure at the touch of a button. But guys, then there was an additional surprise. Quip also supplies mints and gums that are fantastic. Every time you pop one of their new mints, you'll be caring for your mouth inside and out. Bold mint flavor keeps your breath confidently fresh, and you'll get a boost of vitamin D. And their gum prevents cavities and freshens breath when chewed for like 20 minutes after eating. It's sugar-free, is tooth-friendly, and has 0 calories. So guys, if you go to getquip.com/Campea right now, you'll get 20% off any electric toothbrush, mint and gum dispenser, and water flosser. That's your 20% off any electric toothbrush, mint and gum dispenser, water floss at getquip.com/Campea, spelled GETQUIP.com/Campea. Quip, the good habits company. And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile and Quip for sponsoring this episode. Okay, guys, with that down, let's get to the remainder of your questions here, shall we? We just left off with John Redcorn, so we're going to move up to Dildar the Glorious, who writes, "It's game day. Got my copy of Spider-Man 2. Can't wait to play it after work and receive my 19 inches of Venom. My body is ready." Can't wait to receive your 19 inches of Venom, huh? Hey, listen, you're a grown man. What you do in your privacy of your home, in your own home, is your business, and I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to judge you. So you go ahead and enjoy the 19 inches of Venom. I mean, I do not have Spider-Man 2 yet. All my gaming time right now is completely dedicated to Baldur's Gate 3, which might be the greatest game ever made. But I am looking forward to trying Spider-Man 2. I will get there, and we'll see how it goes. But have fun with it, man. All right, next up. King Daddy Goat writes, "Have you finished House of Usher yet, John?" No, I'm not finished yet, but I think I'm about 2 episodes in. Here's my thing about House of Usher so far, though. I'm enjoying it. I mean, the stuff that happens, it's kind of crazy. It's way out there. I mean, I'm not surprised when you look at who created the show. I think it's Mike Flanagan who did it. But here's my one criticism of the House of Usher. And again, I'm not finished yet. I think I've got 2 episodes left. My one criticism of Fall of the House of Usher is that it's not really a story. That's not the right way to put it. Look, I feel like the entire show is just an inevitability, right? Like there's these people, this entity wants to kill them all, and one by one, they're just going to kill them all. And there's nothing they can do. And so I feel like there's no tension to the show, because I feel like, and again, I have not finished watching it yet, but I feel like this whole show is just one big inevitability. Right? It's like, okay, this thing's going to kill them all, and it's going to kill them all, and the show's going to be over, and that. There's nothing they can do to fight it. There's nothing they can do to resist. Now, like I'm saying that, and it's making it sound like I'm not enjoying the show. I am enjoying the show. By the way, how good is Mark Hamill in this show? Bruce Greenwood, Mark Hamill, the whole cast has been insanely good. I really, really like it. But anyway, I'll see how I feel once I finish it out. But right now, it feels like there's no tension, because it doesn't feel like there's anything that can be done. I feel like I'm watching this. It feels like, okay, I already know the outcome. Like, and nothing can change it. But we'll see. We'll see. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes, so we'll find out. All right. Next up, we got Cesar Rivera, who tips in $20. Thank you, Cesar, for sending in a super chat that size, man. Thank you so much for supporting us on that level. And Cesar Rivera writes, "I just wanted to say thanks. I've subscribed to multiple of your sponsors." Oh, thank you so much for that. HelloFresh, who are great. Rocket Money, who have saved me a ton of money. Mint Mobile has also saved me a ton of money. I'm even considering those Vessi shoes. Love the show. Thanks again. Okay, so let me, first of all, Cesar, thank you so much for putting that in. I appreciate that. Any chance that they give me to plug our sponsors. You want to know, and one of the truly best ways to support our channel is to go and check out our sponsors and use our promo codes and stuff like that, because our sponsors are the main way that we finance the channel and we're able to pay everybody and do what we do. And when you guys go and actually check out our sponsors, and if you sign up, great, and use our promo codes or our URL or stuff like that, then it makes the sponsors like, I've got a great manager who looks after like our sponsorship manager, and we work with a great ad agency. But the reason such a small YouTube channel as ours, and we're a very tiny YouTube channel. The reason such a tiny YouTube channel as like ours is always loaded with sponsors, like even more than other channels 3 times our size, is because we have what's called a very engaged audience. And like, you guys know, I mean, I turn down so many sponsorships. I would even love to tell you about some of the ones that I've turned down, but I don't want to have a bad reputation. But we turn down a lot. You can ask Jonathan someday. We turn down a lot of sponsors. I only work with sponsors that I really believe in and that I really enjoy. And when you guys go and try out those products, whether it's Mint Mobile, and again, you guys, you should all be on Mint Mobile. I say that wholeheartedly. You should all be on Mint Mobile. Or like Quip. I mean, come on, you all brush your teeth. Tell me you all brush your teeth, whether you're taking 19 inches of venom or not. Tell me you brush your teeth. Like with Quip, that you guys, or Masterclass, or Manscaped, or Rocket Money, or HelloFresh, or Vessi, or whatever, the dozen plus whatever sponsors that we have, that the fact that you guys know that I only accept sponsors from companies that I really believe in, and then you guys go and use them. Well, what happens is then those sponsors re-up with us because they see that our audience is really engaged. And then our ad agency is able to tell all the other sponsors, look at the results. The companies that sponsor the John Campea Show get great results because we've got a great engaged audience. So for using our sponsor stuff, I'm giving you a little bit of a look behind the curtain of how the sausage is made here. But thank you so very much for trying out our sponsors, and for all of you guys who try out our sponsors and stuff like that. It is actually the number one way to support our channel. And you guys have been incredibly supportive of our sponsors, and that has made our sponsors very supportive of us. So thank you guys so much for that. All right. Let's keep going. You gave me thank you for giving me that platform, Caesar, as well, to promote our stuff. All right. Christ Courage writes, how long does the strike need to go on that will stop the release of new movies? Well, it's already stopping stuff, right? We've already seen many movies. Dune, boom, gone. Dune was coming out this year, not anymore. Just this morning, we talked about the fact that Deadpool 3, as of yesterday, it's now official. Deadpool 3, boom, kicked off its May 3rd release date, no longer happening. We are already starting to see it. Now, how long? Now, Dune was moved because they can't have their actors promoting it, but there are a lot of movies in the can, right? There are a lot of movies in the can. So we're going to continue to get movies. If the studios want to, they have movies lined up enough that have already been finished production and now they're in post-production and they can keep working out that we could go another 9 months with movies still coming out. But the problem is a lot of these studios are going to start bumping their movies because they can't have their actors promoting it. Look what happened to Dumb Money. Dumb Money was never going to be a $400 million film, but Dumb Money is awesome and it's got a great cast, but none of the cast could go out and promote the movie. They couldn't do the second level marketing. They couldn't do press junkets. They couldn't go do the late night talk show rounds. They couldn't do radio interviews. They couldn't do all the things that a movie needs to promote their product. And Dumb Money didn't get that and nobody saw it. And other studios are looking at that. So I think we're going to see more and more movies get bumped, unfortunately, but we will see. All right. Next up, we've got Casinema, who writes, The recap for Loki episode 3 included the part from season 1 where Sylvie asks Ravonna what her Nexus event was. Thought we might finally see what it was. I will look, they clearly made a point to include that in the previously on stuff, right? So it's going to become an issue. It will become an issue. I don't know that for a fact, but I feel pretty confident, Casinema, that that is something they're going to let us see and understand. All right, Casinema also writes, have you seen the reports that Disney is planning a live-action Frozen? Bizarre choice since the last I checked, the third film is on the way. I want to say no. I have not seen those reports, but I've got an itch in my brain. Hold on, let me check something here. Frozen live action Disney. Let me see what I can find here. I'm not seeing it. Oh, I'm not seeing, that's not coming from anywhere legitimate. That's coming from some rumors. Let me see where the rumors are coming from. The rumors are coming from, oh, it's coming from like a Twitter account. Yeah. It's coming from a Twitter account and some secondary outlets are running with it. So, I mean, listen, we all know that Disney likes doing live action adaptations, right? I mean, that's clear. We know that. They like doing live action adaptations and they haven't got the best. They haven't exactly had the best results from their live action adaptations, but they've had some good results. Yeah. Well, so we'll see. We'll see. I don't think I believe it. I don't think I believe it, but I wouldn't doubt it if someday they did, because that just seems to be what they like to do. All right, next up, we've got Disgraceful Entertainment writes, if Volkanovski wins, I'll send you $100 super chat on Monday. If Islam wins, I get a special shout out on Monday's show. You know what? I cannot engage in any kind of bets. I can't do that. I'm leaving myself vulnerable to things if I did that. So we'll just say that, hey, that we got bragging rights. We'll just say we've got bragging rights, and we'll leave it at that. All right. Oh, did that Casinema one. All right. Alex Von Gollum writes, Gio, have you seen She Came to Me, a rom-com? Oh, no, but I've watched the trailers for it and I am dying to see it. They did a big presentation for it at CinemaCon actually, but I have not seen it. Gio, have you seen She Came to Me, a rom-com starring Peter Dinklage, Marissa Tomei, Anne Hathaway? The trailer makes it look like a good time at the theater. I'm intrigued to see it. I'll tell you what, I've completely forgotten about the movie. I love the trailers. I love the promo they showed us at CinemaCon. I have no idea where it's coming out or when it's coming out, but I am. So basically Peter Dinklage, I believe he writes musicals for the stage, if I remember right, but he's hit writer's block and he needs a muse. And then he just stumbles across this Marissa Tomei character who becomes his muse. Anyway, She Came to Me. It looks really funny. I don't know. Again, I don't know when it comes out or where it comes out. I haven't looked into it in a while, but it is something that's on my radar. I am looking forward to it. Let's see here. Next up, Caleb Jacob writes, Saw X made so far over $73 million. But is that good? I don't know if that's good. Let me just pull this up here for a second. Saw X box office. Let's see here. So Saw X has made worldwide $73 million, which means this is really a franchise nobody cares about. Now, on the positive, it only cost $18 million to, oh, no, it did not. It did not. It made $18 million on its opening weekend. I don't know how much it made. Let me rephrase. I have no much it cost to make the movie. It was probably more than $18 million. But $73 million after how many weeks in theaters? Yeah, that's not good. That's not great. So again, Caleb is saying it cost $13 million to make. Well, I mean, in that case, it's profitable, but it doesn't change the fact that it means at 73 million worldwide, that means nobody cares about it. I mean, maybe they can make another one, still make a little bit of money, but nobody cares about it, which is, I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not been a Saw fan since after the first Saw movie. I like the first Saw movie like everybody else. I really quite enjoyed it, but I've never really loved a Saw movie since. And this one, I love the marketing campaign, but it's another Saw movie. I don't know why they keep making them, but I listen, if it really did, if you guys are right, and it really only did cost $13 million to make, then it's probably profitable. It probably made somebody a little bit of money. It's just that nobody cares. That's just nobody cares about Saw anymore. All right. Next up, we've got James Wheeler, who writes, Belichick's record with the Patriots is 263 and 113, and that includes this year. Yeah. He's okay. He's just fine. By the way, C Black just became one of our channel members. Thank you, C Black. Good to have you on, man. All right. And wrapping things up, Javon Vanderhoost just sends in a $20 super chat just to be supportive. No other reason other than just to be supportive. Thank you so much for that, Javon. I really, really appreciate that, man. And guys, that'll do it for today's installment and this week's installments. Actually, this concludes the broadcast week of the John Campea YouTube channel. It is Friday, guys. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Be relaxed, have some fun, be safe, don't drink and drive, or you're a fucking asshole. And thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to having you guys back on Monday. I think it'll be me, Rob, Ray, and Jonathan on Monday. Looking forward to having you guys back. You know what? I might even do a little play and chat this weekend. Don't hold me to that, but I think I might. Anne's got like an afternoon lunch with a bunch of the girls. So I might actually slip into the office here and do a little bit of play and chat. No 19 inches of venom, but I might do a little play and chat playing Baldur's Gate 3. We'll see. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks for being here. Of course, my name is John Campea, my friends. Thanks so much. And until next time, 19 inches.